And it's bonus podcast number 5, a.k.a. podcast number 203 of The Horror Guys.
203, that's a lot of movies. Anyway,
a lot of movies.
I'm horror guy Kevin.
And I'm horror guy Brian.
And we're going to talk about these bonus movies today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Some old and some new.
Now, keep in mind that these are the bonus movies, the bonus movies that are exclusive to HorrorBulletin.com, the newsletter side. On HorrorGuys.com, we watch 4 regular movies and a short film every week. And that's a whole separate podcast. So be sure to take both of them in.
Yeah, check it all out.
What do we got this week?
We got Fresh from 2022.
Yeah, that's a cool one. What else?
We need to talk about Kevin.
Oh, boy, do we.
From 2011. A different Kevin, not this Kevin.
Oh, okay.
And an old classic, Spider Baby, or The Maddest Story Ever Told, from 1967.
Don't know if it's the maddest, but it's weird.
I'd never heard of this one before.
Yeah.
And another brand new one, We Won't Be Alone.
You Won't Be Alone.
You Won't Be Alone.
Yes,
from 2022.
All right. And as always, brought to you by the Horror Guys Guides. Go to horrorguysshop.com. Pick you up some books. We got books on Universal films. We got books on Hammer films. We got books on Roger Corman films. The brand new Roger Corman book is out there. Kevin's coughing up.
Brand new book. Yeah, all about Roger Corman, the stuff he did, the horror stuff, and some of his favorites. And he's really prodigious in the business.
He did a lot of films with Vincent Price, who we also have a book on.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
HorrorGuysShop.com, or just go to HorrorGuys.com and find the links. All right, which one's first?
Fresh.
Fresh.
Because it's good and fresh. And it's brand new, so we're not going to spoil it very much. But we'll talk about it some.
Yeah. Well, actually, you get an awful lot of spoilers just from the movie poster.
Quite a bit. But a movie like this, how are you going to tell about it? Without spoiling it some.
Directed by Mimi Cave, written by Lauren Karn, stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Sebastian Stan, Jojo T. Gibbs, and Andrea Bang. Hour and 54 minutes. It's kind of a long one.
Worth it, though.
Spoiler-free. What happens?
It's just the story of a young woman looking for love. She finds a terrific guy, and they live happily ever after. At least that's how it goes from the beginning of the movie. But this is horror, so you know it's not going to be that easy. This was really beautifully done. And you can suspect right away, almost right away, what's going to happen. And you might be sort of right. But how is it going to end? You got to watch to find out.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how it's going to end. It could go multiple ways.
Well, the first half hour is a perfect Hallmark movie.
It is, yeah.
But you know from the movie poster, it's not going to stay like that.
Yep.
All right, the main character's name is Noah, N-O-A. Noah swipes right on the dating app. She goes into a restaurant, and the guy she's meeting talks about acid reflux throughout the whole meal. Oh, and he's wearing a T-shirt and a long scarf. He says it looks like she's wearing a blanket. She'd look better in a dress, he says. Well, he's a pig, and a cheap one at that. They split the bill when they're done.
It's really an awful date.
Well, of course it is an awful date, because he ends up calling her a stuck-up bitch as they say goodnight for the evening.
There won't be a second date.
There wasn't much of a first date.
Yeah.
Well, Noah and her friend Molly laugh about the story the next day. After her workout at the gym, she goes to the grocery store and meets Steve, who asks for her number. They meet again the next night for an actual date. Paul, Molly's ex-boyfriend, is their bartender there. Steve is a plastic surgeon. Ooh, money.
Big money.
Well, they hit it off and go to her place for the night, and they start seeing a lot of each other. It's all very Hallmarky and romantic.
Yeah, he's just a great guy for her.
Steve asks Noah to go away with him for the weekend, but first they go to his place out in the country. They get there, and of course there's no cell signal or Wi-Fi, and he fixes her a drink, and before long the drug kicks in.
Whoops.
Credits roll.
And then credits roll.
This is like 35 minutes in is when the credits roll.
I almost forgot that we hadn't seen credits yet, and then all of a sudden, yeah. And it's funny, there you get the first true awareness that something's not right here, because there's no cell phone. service, which, isn't unusual out in the middle of nowhere.
But he has no Wi-Fi either?
His Wi-Fi, oh no, there is Wi-Fi, and she asks for the password, and he kind of, oh no, and look over here. And he just completely changes the subject, and leaves her hanging, and you realize, yeah, something's wrong. He doesn't want her to have contact with the outside world.
How about we stop right there?
We should.
Things have gone terribly wrong for Noah.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into the details. Well, the first half hour could have been from any Hallmark movie. Then, suddenly, it takes a turn. I had my doubts for a long while that this was even going to turn out to be a horror film, but oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it gets there.
You know she's going to either escape, be eaten, there's sort of a spoiler, but that movie poster will give you that one, or maybe other options. There are 3 different possibilities that are foreshadowed pretty clearly.
3 clear options. And
Yeah.
there's other possibilities, too.
And you don't know. I mean, you know where it's going to go about 5 minutes after the part we stop talking. But you don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
The acting is all great here. Everyone is believable. And it's actually pretty romantic. Until it's not. The soundtrack is excellent. The pacing is really well done as things escalate. And I like that you could see where it was going, but not really. Definitely excellent.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Maybe my favorite for the week.
I think it was mine for the week, yeah.
All right, next up. Hey, guys. This is Brian, horror guy Brian here. We need to talk about Kevin. Wow. Kevin's gone all goofy on us. Yeah, we need to talk about Kevin from 2011, directed by Lynn Ramsey, written by Lynn Ramsey, Roy Stuart Kinnear, and Lionel Shriver. Stars Tilda Swinton, John C. Reilly, and Ezra Miller. 1 hour, 52 minutes. Spoiler free. It's a straightforward and simple story. More of a psychological drama than strictly horror. Now it's debatable.
Yeah.
An excellent cast, well-written script, and the way it's filmed, jumping back and forth in time, boosts it up to something really interesting. Right away, we can all see that something bad has happened, but we gradually find out what it was and just how bad it can get.
Yeah, I think big kudos to the director here, because it could be kind of a mundane kind of story.
You've all
If
heard
they
this.
just
We've
told
all
it from
heard this
point A
story
to point
before.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the character development is so interesting, and Tilda Swinton, the mother, her struggles with the before and the after and the guilt, and yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah, there's only about 5 minutes of the during, but it's mostly before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what happens?
Well, we see Eva in the middle of a giant tomato paste orgy.
What?
Yeah. It's that festival in Europe where they all, like the entire town, throws tomatoes at each other and just pounds and pounds and gallons of tomatoes everywhere. And
It looks really messy.
Big old tomato fight, yeah. Well, she wakes up. It's really just a messy house. That was a dream from the past. She goes outside, and the front of the house is covered in red paint. So is her car. Somebody's hating on her. Well, we cut to an earlier time when Eva's daughter has an eye patch, and teenage Kevin gets ready for school. Her husband Franklin is there too, and then we cut to Eva coming home from work to find something awful has happened. So it's like 2 points in the past too.
Yeah, we're kind of
jumps
bouncing
all over the place. Yeah. Well, Eva cleans off her windshield, the red paint, goes to a travel agency. People stare at her wherever she goes, and she doesn't like it. She's at the travel agency to apply for a secretarial position, a travel agent kind of job. And the woman there says, don't care what happened or what you've done or whatever. Just if you can type, you got the job, which is, just what she wanted to hear. And she's, happy about this, except on the way out, a woman hits her in the face, tells her hopes she goes to hell.
Just somebody on the street.
Like, what? What's that all about? Well, she dreams of her and Franklin dating and being happy. Before long, a baby is on the way, and she doesn't seem very happy about having a baby because she cries a lot. She's down about it. And, the baby, no, she doesn't cry. I misread that. No, and she's not really crying about it.
She does not want this baby.
After the baby is born, she doesn't want the baby. And then, boom, the baby is there, and the baby just endlessly cries.
She wasn't happy about the baby before the baby came.
And then just endlessly, she cannot calm it down and stop him from crying. And
she didn't want to be a mother, and she's not very good at it.
And it's driving her bonkers. And there's one scene where she's out with the baby in a stroller, pauses by a jackhammer, And you can see like the bliss on her face because it drowns the baby out for a few minutes.
It's better than that screaming kid.
Yeah. Like, peace. Like, wow, that's really bad. Well, then she's driving to the prison and visits someone there. Someone is really creepy, but we don't see them. And she's clearly hated by all the neighbors who watch her try to remove the paint from the front of her house. We get flashes of what the bad thing was that happened when Eva avoids a woman at the grocery store.
She's walking through the grocery store, got all her stuff, and a dozen eggs in her basket, sees this woman that she recognizes, and then she goes and hides around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she goes to check out, she finds that woman has broken all the eggs in her container.
Yeah, it's a little thing. Well, we flash back to baby Kevin, who should have already started talking. He doesn't speak at all, but there's nothing wrong with his hearing. Doctor says there's nothing wrong with him. He's not autistic. And soon we see it's Kevin that's in prison. From baby to prisoner.
Not terribly surprising. We figured it was him.
Yeah. We get more flashbacks that show us that Kevin and Eva don't get along, but Kevin and Franklin get along pretty fine. Franklin finds them a huge house in the suburbs, but Eva doesn't want to leave the city. Well, she decorates her room with maps, and Kevin shoots paint all over them.
This is about the time I'd be selling the kid on eBay or something.
Yeah, he's really awful. Yeah. Well, Franklin tries to keep the peace, but Eva's not having any of that. Kevin really seems to hate Eva, and it's pretty clear that it's going both ways. He still wears diapers at age 6. He's not potty trained, or looks like he refuses to be, and so she just has to clean him up. Well, little Kevin gets more and more manipulative and controlling of his mother. He's a little monster to her, and he's perfectly normal toward his father. No one sees that other than Eva. Well, Eva eventually gets pregnant again, and Kevin is not pleased. But suddenly Kevin starts being nice to Eva. So, Franklin gets Kevin an archery set. He's a little older now, and he's a surprisingly good shot. And as he becomes a teenager, he gets even better. Then, back to the present, Eva's travel office has a Christmas party, and coworker Colin wants to dance with Eva. And that was just sad, I thought, because here's this guy, seems to be a little romantically interested in her. She's, very gun-shy. We're not clear at this point why, how bad this was, this thing that happened. And Franklin is there, the husband, somewhere, but isn't. Did they get divorced or... But,
well, this guy in the office is no prize, and he's looking down on her thinking he can get anything he wants because he's above her on the ladder.
Yeah, at the party that comes out. Yeah, and when she says no, he's unexpectedly cruel. I thought that was sad because I was kind of hopeful that, she's got
going to turn things around.
A little happiness here. Like, no. Yeah. Well, we see many more instances of little Kevin being a jerk. There's no point. That's the point. He's all nihilistic as he grows into a teenager. He's still into archery, gets a new bow for Christmas, even better one. Celia, the daughter, gets a guinea pig, which soon goes missing. And Eva finds something red and nasty in the kitchen drain.
Could that be the guinea pig?
What was left of the guinea pig? And who did that? That'd be Kevin. Well, she uses some drain cleaner to get the remains of the guinea pig out to the drain. And then all of a sudden, Celia's at the hospital. And we piece it together that this is why Celia was wearing an eye patch. Something happened with the drain cleaner. And we all know it's Kevin, but Franklin thinks that Eva left it out.
Prove it.
Yeah. And Kevin just denies. He wants a divorce. At this point, he's asking her a divorce because he's had enough of her nuttiness. And Celia,
but it's Kevin's fault. It's all Kevin.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Enough of this crap.
Yeah. Well, Cecilia's going to have a black eye. Celia.
Not a black eye, a glass eye.
Glass eye, right. Well, Kevin gets a package in the mail, and Eva opens it, and they're all there. They all see what's in it. It's a bunch of heavy-duty bicycle locks that he says he's going to resell at the school for a profit. And Franklin thinks that's great. Well, the next day at work, someone barges into Eva's office and asks if Kevin goes to Gladstone High. We see that Kevin has used those locks to seal up all the doors in the school and gone on a killing spree with his bow. Eva rushes to the school. When she sees the fireman cutting those bicycle locks off the door, she knows what has happened. The doors open. Kevin comes out and surrenders himself to the police.
He does look smug and happy, don't
He
he?
does, yeah. Well, and at first I thought it was hooey. Like, it's not a gun. Come on, it's a bow and arrow. You'd be so slow. But what he did was, it was an assembly, and he was up on a balcony kind of thing. And yeah, and it showed him shooting, just pachoo.
It would take a while to clear out an entire assembly through those doors.
And he would just have a high vantage point to pick out targets as he wanted to. And there is some death, and one guy ends up in a wheelchair, and so yeah, he does cause some mayhem. Eva drives home after all this to find Franklin and Celia out in the backyard, both shot dead with arrows.
Well, that
He killed them first before going
happened
to school.
earlier, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and back in today, Eva has finally gotten all the red paint off her house. She's been working on that off and on through the film. She goes to see Kevin in prison again. It's been 2 years. She wants to know why. He says he isn't sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
He thought he used to be sure, and now he's not. Yeah. And that's kind of where it ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton as Eva is tight-lipped, desperate, and angry-looking throughout, as if she's just about ready to explode at any time. She's clearly a little sociopathic herself. She and Kevin are more alike than either of them would like to admit. All three of the Kevin actors are psychotic little monsters, perfect acting. They have a little baby, little child Kevin. They have the grown-up Kevin, somewhere in the middle Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
John C. Reilly is a normal guy caught between the two main characters. You ever notice how he can play a perfectly normal dramatic guy and also a silly comedian? And
Yeah.
he's very flexible.
Really versatile.
You know from the beginning that something really bad is going to happen, but we don't understand all the details until toward the end. It's kind of a sort of a bad seed updated for modern times. There's just something wrong with Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure why Eva didn't just leave town afterward, though, since everyone there knew and hated her for involvement in the mass killing.
I don't know.
I know if everybody in town knew that I was involved in something like that, I would go to a different town.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the prison is probably right there in town with her either.
And yeah, go commute to the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know.
well.
Yeah.
Kids of all kinds are just evil.
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Kevin was. I wasn't. This Kevin was.
They're all bad.
All Kevins are bad.
Way back in 1967, Lon Chaney was old. He needed a paycheck and went with this thing called Spider Baby, or the maddest story ever told.
On the other hand, Sid Haig was young, and they kind of crossed over in this one. They were both in this.
The old pro and the newbie who had never done much of anything.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Written and directed by Jack Hill, stars Lon Chaney Jr., Carol Omart, and Quinn K. Redeker. And Sid Haig didn't even make it the top 5 or 6, but he's in there. He's got a good part.
He's got a nice part, yeah.
Hour and 21 minutes. And I forget where we saw this. It was on one of the streaming services, probably Tubi.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler free, what happens?
Well, this had plenty of horror and plenty of comedy. Kind of interesting seeing a well-known face near the end of his career, Lon Chaney, in a movie along with young faces who went on to do a lot of other things. And this is actually a lot of fun, this movie.
It's weird.
It's weird. There's still a lot of horrifying elements, but it's darn funny, too.
This is one of those things you would expect, like, David Lynch to do a remake of. That would be so good.
I could see that working really well.
All right, well, we get creepy but cringeworthy poetry as the animated credits play.
Yeah, kind of a spoken song, and that's Lon Chaney Jr. performing that.
Yeah, it is. And we're like, is that him doing that? That's
sure
pretty
was.
good. And
Yeah.
it was. Well, a man reads to us from a book of peculiar diseases. Because I think it says right on the cover, peculiar diseases.
That's how you know.
There's one that regresses people back before their birth to a time of barbarity and cannibalism. This disease was extinguished forever 10 years ago.
And what happened 10 years ago? Well, we're going to find out.
Family came to an end. Well, a messenger has to deliver a package to the Mary house. Virginia, the girl inside, pretends to be a spider and cuts off the messenger's ear. And the rest of his head, too.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Elizabeth says Virginia's going to be in trouble for that. We need to talk about Virginia next.
We do.
Bruno drives a big black car up to the same house and he notices the messenger's vehicle outside the gate and goes inside. He calls for Elizabeth and Virginia, and then he spots the body.
Yeah, it's not exactly subtle. It's half hanging out on the porch.
Yeah.
Because he tried to climb in the front window.
The one time I leave them alone, he complains. They let their brother Ralph out of the back seat of the car. He's very simple-minded and kind of acts almost like an animal.
That's Sid Haig.
It is. Still bald.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did he ever have hair? Bruno tells Virginia to never play Spider again. Ralph gives Bruno the message that the man was bringing in earlier. It's from a lawyer. There's a relative coming to visit, and he's part of the estate too. They may sue for the inheritance. Children, we've got to keep some secrets today, Bruno warns. There's a secret door that hides a secret basement and housing Aunt Martha, Aunt Clara, and Uncle Ned.
So that's where they went.
We don't see them.
Not yet.
Emily and her brother Peter arrive at the house. Emily runs into Ralph and thinks he's a baboon. He's weird looking, but he's not that bad.
No.
Bruno is a chauffeur, and he drives Mr. Schlocker and Anne in the car. He's also Emily's lawyer, but Bruno didn't know that. Bruno has been the caretaker for the three married children since the death of their father 7 years ago. Bruno said that the three are not ordinary. He calls them retarded.
Beep.
That was a good beep there.
I have to censor that out.
Schlocker says they should be put into an institution. Well, that was the word back then. That's
I know.
What they used.
Yeah.
Soon, everyone arrives at the house. Bruno says he swore that the children would never become open to public scrutiny. Bruno also adds that the three children are not just beep, they also regress back in time. These three are the unfortunate result of inbreeding. Couldn't have figured that out by looking at them. Schlocker wants to know about Clara, Martha, and Ned. Bruno said it became necessary to put them in a more private sort of institution. Virginia crawls around outside looking for bugs to eat like any normal spider would. Ralph, on the other hand, hunts for a cat. Peter gets a kick out of Ralph, all dressed up for dinner. He's wearing this little child's outfit from like the 1800s, and he looks like a clown.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Virginia takes care of Barney and Winifred, two large, real spiders. Bruno cooks the cat Ralph caught for dinner. We don't eat dead things, Elizabeth says. They're all forbidden to eat meat. Eating flesh will worsen their condition. It's a very awkward dinner.
It sure is.
But Peter's into trying everything. Emily is basically in shock at these people. She eats a candy bar and potato chips from her purse. Yeah, that's where I'd be. It's clear that Emily and Schlocker are planning to evict Bruno and institutionalize everyone else when they get possession of the house. Anne and Peter talk about old horror films like The Wolfman. What,
Nope.
Did you say Lon Chaney was in
Lon
this?
Chaney Jr.
Bruno warns that there's going to be a full moon tonight. Emily says she hates spiders, and Virginia takes offense. Peter then drives Anne to a motel in town.
So if they don't go straight there, they stop at a few bars first and get all liquored up and party. Then by the time they get to the hotel, well,
Yeah, it's too late.
yeah, all booked up.
Virginia mentions that Schlocker looks like a big fat bug. Elizabeth thinks that maybe Virginia should go play spider. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Their father, who's been dead for 7 years, is still lying in his bedroom decomposing.
Ew.
The girls both kiss him goodnight every evening. Schlocker goes downstairs at night to explore and finds the messenger's ear. Then he finds a secret door and goes downstairs to where the older relatives are caged. The two girls come in, and he says, "This is beyond the bounds of prudence and good taste."
How dignified.
Oh my, prudence and good taste. They scream and come at him with knives. "Kill him!" they scream. And they do.
No more Schlocker.
A little later, Bruno watches Schlocker's dead body go up the dumbwaiter. Bruno knew this was coming someday. Bruno explains that more men like Schlocker will be coming for them. Bruno says that there wasn't time anyway, since Ralph is almost at the point he'll have to join Uncle Ned and the others downstairs. Bruno says he's going to get something for the girls, a big surprise. While he's gone, Emily finds Schlocker's body too. She runs off with the girls right behind, and Emily runs right into the arms of Ralph. Peter and Anne have been at every motel in town, but there aren't any vacancies left. They're both really drunk, so they decide to go back to the Mary house. The girls welcome them home in the creepiest possible way. Virginia ties Peter to a chair. It's her spider web. Meanwhile, Bruno goes to the new bridge they're building and steals some dynamite. Emily wakes up out in the field outside. Emily attacks Ralph, Ralph attacks Anne, and Peter knocks over the spider cage, releasing the whole collection at his feet. Spiders everywhere.
Spiders, spiders, big spiders.
Aunt Clara and Martha grab Anne and Emily and eat them. Well, okay, cannibals in the basement.
Yeah, they busted loose.
Bruno returns and gathers the 3 children in the basement. He lights the fuse to the dynamite just as Peter rolls down the stairs.
Yeah, he knows he can't cover for him anymore. It's time to end things.
Peter grabs Anne, who isn't really dead, and rushes out of the house. Uncle Ned and Clara get out, and they're big hairy monsters looking kind of werewolfy. Then the bomb goes off, killing the whole family. Peter, the only survivor, inherits everything. He explains that the Mary syndrome is now completely extinct and eradicated. He then married Anne, and they now have a daughter.
Who's 10 years old?
Yeah, little Jessica goes outside and admires the spiders.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's good. This was just a funny one.
Yeah, it was.
The opening music, Spider Baby theme, was recorded by Lon Chaney himself. It's not exactly a song, more of a spoken lyric kind of thing, but it's really good. The Awesome Ralph was a very early appearance by a very young Sid Haig. Lon Chaney was really good here. A lot of his movies, he really doesn't act.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had a lot of alcohol problems in the 40s and 50s, and it took a lot of toll on him in the 60s, and yeah, he was phoning in a lot of his roles.
This one I think he put more
My
into.
opinion, of all the major horror icons of the 1900s, he's probably the lowest of the talent scale, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He was really good in Wolfman, but that's about it.
Big old slump, but he's good in this too.
Big old slump that ran for 30 years.
Yeah,
But he is good here,
unfortunately.
yeah. It's definitely a dark comedy, as there's lots of funny moments and in-jokes, like Chaney talking about the Wolfman and Ralph's dress-up costume. The main draw here is really just how crazy offbeat the whole thing is compared to other films of the times.
Yeah.
This is mid-60s, and like I said, it's very David Lynch-ish.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was.
But good.
Definitely recommend it.
Yeah. And another one we'd recommend.
Would we?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I'd like to see it again, actually.
Wow.
You Won't Be Alone from 2022. I liked it more the more it went on.
Okay. Written and directed by Goran Stalevsky. Stars Noomi Rapace, Alice Englert, and Anna Marie Marinka. Hour and 48 minutes, so it's kind of long. Spoiler free, it's a story of witchery that takes a little while to get going. Actually, there's really no big action scenes here. It sort of develops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once it does, it's pretty great. Long ago and far away, strange things happened in the mountains. It's subtitled and well worth the read.
A long, long time ago in a mountain far, far away.
Yeah. I think the credit said Macedonia.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Vaguely European in the past. What happens?
Well, a bunch of kids play hide and seek in a woman's house. She gets angry and runs them all out. The woman has a crying baby, lives alone. She turns around, there's a naked, ugly witch there.
Surprise!
Yeah. The witch doesn't care about children. She only wants the baby's blood.
I don't want your children. I just want their blood.
Yeah. Well, the witch is Old Maid Maria. The woman asks Maria to spare her child and offers her up when she turns 16. Then she'll serve the witch.
Time to make alternate plans.
Well, the witch is intrigued. She can't leave the baby unmarked, though, so she cuts the baby's vocal cords before leaving.
This is a little vague. We had to rewind and watch it a couple of times, and we weren't sure what was happening.
And then
there.
we figured out, yeah.
Nothing wrong with the baby's face, but there is some blood, and apparently it still has a tongue. So yeah, just some sort of mystical muteness.
She takes the baby's voice.
Yeah.
Yep. Later, the witch watches from the woods as the mother leaves the baby in a holy cave, screams to everyone that a wolf eater took her baby. Credits roll. Well, years pass. The baby grows into a teenager, but she's still in the cave, hidden away and protected. Mother comes in and takes care of her, And the girl still can't speak because the witch did steal her voice. We do hear her thoughts through a voiceover narration, though.
Yeah, she doesn't talk, but we still hear what she's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of jumbled and garbled and not perfect English because she's lived in a cave for 16 years.
Mm-hmm. I think it gets better as the movie progresses.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. When she has more contact with people. Well, the girl wants to leave, but her mother claims that the monsters out there will tear her to pieces. A big bird flies in. That causes more drama from the mother, although the girl is fascinated. The mother attacks the bird fights back, and then the mother, who now acts completely differently, leads the girl outside for the first time. The girl sees trees and cows. Mother scratches the girl and then spits cow blood into the wound, some kind of bonding ritual. And we soon realize that this is not Mother, that's really Maria the witch, who has changed form and collecting her now that she's 16.
Uh-oh.
She's with the witch now. Well, the girl, Billiana, realizes the witch has killed her mother, but goes along with things anyway, because she's fascinated by all the outdoor things. Billiana's fingernails grow into claws, and she eats animals. She's a witch, too. Well, eventually she comes across a man out in the woods. The man tries to hit old Maria with his axe, but she messes him up pretty badly. Maria teaches her how to drink blood. I chose you, she says. Well, the two argue back and forth a bit about various things, and Maria abandons her abandoned daughter. She turns into a wolf and runs away. Well, Billiana hears a woman screaming and watches her give birth in a cornfield, and then goes right back to work. Billiana.
Yeah, you've had your 5 minutes. Get back to it.
Yeah, that's basically how it was, yeah. Billiana and the woman fight, and the woman is killed. Billiana drinks her blood. She likes it a lot. And then she transforms into the dead woman, just like when the witch killed her mother. Except this woman has a husband and mother-in-law.
That's probably a good place
so
to
it's awkward. Yeah. So she's going to, impersonate this person.
She drinks blood and
but
turns
she can't
into
talk.
that person.
Even when she changes forms, she's still mute, which
Yeah.
complicates things a bit. But, I thought this was good. I mean, right about then is when I really started enjoying it. It's like, oh, she's, she's going to take on the form of these, this person and try to blend in and learn how to be a human, basically.
The many lives of Billiana the witch.
Yeah, and this isn't, semi-spoiler, this isn't the only person she becomes.
No.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of fascinating as it went along, and she gets more knowledge and gets stranger, yet also is able to fit in more, and
Well, I at least was immediately reminded of Hagazusa, the film from 2018 that we reviewed a few months ago.
Uh-huh.
It was another witch out in the wilderness.
And a little bit of The Witch, too.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got very much the same vibe and style, with a woman living in the wilderness alone with the witches. This one, however, there's no doubt about who is a witch and who is not. It's more about body swapping and seeing things from other people's perspectives. It's got great scenery and sets, the costumes are good, the acting is fine, and it's all very unusual. It's kind of hard to tell acting sometimes with these foreign language films.
I think it was good.
There's absolutely no action in this movie. It's
Not
just
really,
her living
yeah.
one life after another and getting into trouble each time. We know from the start that she's pretty much doomed or cursed because, the witch came for her.
Yeah, she was doomed as a baby.
But she
Yeah.
still hopes to get out of it. Will she? Tune in and find out.
And there's some action. There's a little gore and fighting. And,
Oh, yeah, there's
but
definitely gore.
But it's pretty low-key.
Yeah, no big witch, magic battles or anything.
Yeah, the magic's subtle in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and that's our show for the week. What do we like best? I'm going to say Fresh.
I'm going to go with Fresh, and then You Won't Be Alone as my second choice.
I'm going to go with Fresh, and Spider Baby is my second choice.
Okay.
It's just weird.
Yeah, We should talk about Kevin, too.
Yeah.
I liked that one more than you did, I think.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah. We need to talk about Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to talk about him anymore.
No,
Enough Kevin for this week.
that's right.
Get out of here.
Okay, bye.
Well, that is our show for the week. Tune in 2 weeks for another bonus episode, or stop in over at horrorguyspodcast.com and subscribe using any podcast player to The Big Podcast, which is every week, 4 movies and a short. That's a lot of movies.
It is.
Well, I'm Brian,
And I'm Kevin.
and we'll see you next time.
See ya.